So let's get into that, once more in terms of like, hey, how can you make an explosive thermite? And it's like, well, you don't technically, unless you want to create like two fuel oxidizers and an alkaline acidic mix, effectively like carbides of like, oh, I don't know, lithium carbide with oxygens around, and then a iodine magnesium, you know what I mean, with oxygens around. And then you're all like, yeah, but that's not actually fully ready yet. And you're like, what if I got tanerite and then rolled them up into little tiny BBs? And then it was all like plastic explosives, because those are actually pretty easy, like C4 or whatnot, to make. And then it's like, I rolled that around, the tanerite. And then it was all like, well, I'll just add in some like iron or whatever. Some aluminum, maybe copper up in there, like in the plastic explosive. But then I'm all like, I'm just going to put in those alkaline and halogen elements, right? And I just have like a little buffer, a little catalyst in between. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll just initiate the initial amount of total, it's just energy. Anyways, point is, the amount of heat required, right? But it's like, it won't burn the the plastic burns, sure, like, yes, but the tanerite goes bang, and enough heat energy gets produced that eventually it produces just enough pressure to go boom. But don't worry, here's some carbided, you guessed it, magnesium and lithium, with oxygens and iodine and fluoride. So this is fluorine, really, on the good old lithium fluoride, lithium carbide, fluoride, oxygen. Anyways, point is, that's basically what it is. It's pretty easy to actually make. That's the thing. And same thing with the magnesium, with the magnesium carbide iodine complex with oxygen. So like, no, I would never want to make that in a crystalline formation that precipitates out of a given type of solution with metals around, like copper carbides or anything like. Anyways, point is, I was thinking about it because in the afterburner situation of a given hydrogen peroxide nitromethane situation, with a catalyst as a decompositional to a then detonation velocity gas, because then it's like, well, I'll just throw in some more fuel to the oxygen that's there. Why not? If I use a Hertz reaction during the decompositional stage, then I'm able, which is a hydrogen evolution. So, anyways, point is, that allows for you to get, like, oh, I don't know, this thing where I can remove the hydrogen off pretty easily and get more oxygen. Imagine there was an oxygen molecule there. Just do that. Anyways. But don't worry, here's an explosive. Yeah, I'll just inject them in by using stators that I'll just, like, throw in as a slurry with this, like, I don't know, fucking what should I use? Let me just take a look at, like, all of the number of different fucking, let's see here, there's alcohols, there's oils, there's fucking, like, so many things that can dissolve that. Like, probably, like, ethanol. Truthfully, ethanol would dissolve that pretty well. And truthfully speaking, even worse for anyone out there, you could put acetylene as a soda bubble kind of formation, under the right kind of pressure, it kind of stays in there, it dissolves things, it goes bang. As you inject it as an afterburner to your high detonation velocity gas engine. Wouldn't that be wonderful? You just have some tanerite and some fucking C4, on the inside of this jawbreaker formation of thermite. Using some fucking, what is this, lithiums and magnesiums and iodines and, oh my god, is that fluorine? You bastard. It's just gonna go bang way too far, way too fast, way too all the things. Of course, you just add in some electricity and that'll probably really make it go off. But I digress. Wouldn't you want to do it? Wouldn't you want to see what would happen? Come on! I don't have any of those ingredients, so you're going to have to deal with that. But wouldn't you want to? Wouldn't you? Come on. It's a great exhaust, right? It's a great escape velocity gas. Just use a hybridization as it decomposes, right? But it's like, no, wait a second. As I fire through this ethanol with the nitromethane and the NO2 and the hydrogen peroxide that's going to go through that, right? I then can fire in this slurry in the afterburner stage and just burn the hell out of it. But it's like, hey, if you think it's burning, it's really explosions. You know, detonation explosions. But don't worry, if you do it the right way, it actually slows down the detonation velocity here, of course, and that's a good thing, because you wouldn't want to do a shockwave that would literally tear apart anything. So instead, it would go into shoving it forward, which is a whole electrical thing, but then that's not totally true, because like gas has to get moved, you know, but it's a chemical reaction, so it just makes it detonate at a higher velocity because it's already moving quite quickly as you inject it in. But like, you know, that's carbon, you know, that's the soot, right, from acetylene typically. But then don't worry, you got more than enough. Like, you got lithiums here, you got all the stuff. Like, come on, you know you could do it. Come on, right? Like, that's standard bullshit. But anyways, I was just thinking about it because it's like, well, how would you have to make a thermite that has a very high energy table to be able to break it down to actually like create a thermite, right? That could still, when done correctly, make an explosive. And it's like, well, the best reactions that are exothermic like that are almost always an alkaline and halogen. And if you put oxygens around and you keep them separated, basically, with a little carbon to act as like, you know, basically what it's going to attach to absorb the rest of the oxygens, then they'll react quite quickly and very, very violently. Pretty simple, you know what I mean? Like, those are almost ubiquitously always the same easiest ways to do it, and they precipitate out of a pretty simple number of solutions, actually, truthfully. Like, for what it's worth, there's a lot of chemical solvent solutions that will have that precipitate out pretty simply and easily. Of course, you'd have to be a person that's willing to do that. And, you know, for what it's worth, is fluoride, like toothpaste. You know, you think toothpaste isn't going to do it, but, like, actually, depending on things, you can make toothpaste do that. For what it's worth. So, like, there's that, you know. But, you know, don't tell anybody how to do things with smarts. Don't do that. We wouldn't want people to learn things here. We wouldn't want that. You know, how would you go about it? Almost always it's an alkaline base, so like you'd probably get Drano for toothpaste if you wanted to, for what it's worth. But then there's fluoride, so it'd attack it. But it's like, don't worry, I've got something for you. Don't worry about that. That's just this fucking lithium from these batteries. I put some carbon around and some high, you know, pressure and heat. Basically, I vacuumed it out, and then I was like, IR blast and microwaves with lithium and fucking carbon together. Oh no. Don't worry, suddenly cool it really quickly and push in a bunch of argon or nitrogen, which would work. But no, loosely bound nitrogen. I could never. Drano. Oh my god, Drano. Oh what? What happened with Drano? I would never want that. Get out of here. Stop making it easy. You fucker. I don't know, man. It seems like it's pretty simple to do. I don't know. Meanwhile, I don't really want that. Yeah, it's like a... Yeah, this is my lab here. It's fucking... Don't look at that, you know, don't just... That'll be... Whoops. Oh, dear. Yeah, so, you know, you probably didn't know this, but the shockwave, there's a little hint here at the end. Yeah, no, I put a shirt on, all that. Okay. Is actually an occlusion. That means there's a vacuum there, right? So that means you can inject. So if you pulse the timing frequency of that injection during that burn, that then rapidly accelerates as a detonation velocity, creating a shockwave behind it, you can then input more fuel, which gives you a constant, never-ending pulse jet engine, but it's not really a jet, it's a rocket engine, that continuously burns more and more fuel correctly, right? So that way, it uses the pressure of the oncoming air to then rapidly hit this as it's accelerated forward into the, well, we filled up that vacuum, of course, with that air-fuel mix, which is really just explosives, which is air and fuel together as a fuel oxidizer combo, but whatever, I digress. It just means that it hits that, and then it, of course, expands, rapidly burns, etc. You get the thing, and then, you know, you don't really have to worry as much. You do have to worry, but as much about that. I mean, there's never a way to, like, let me just really quickly, so you're going to want to get a pen and paper. I'll wait for you. Pause right here. Pause. All right. This is tungsten. You can absolutely electroform that. But we're going to get molybdenum involved. We're going to get some carbon involved. We're going to get some fucking what is that again? I think it's quartz or something like that. We'll tension it, you know what I mean, by basically kind of like expanding it and then electrically plating inside, which inside is a misnomer. When it gets hot enough and then you plate it with the correct metals at the correct pressures, it then tensions, so it puts it under tension because it tries to bind to an oxygen in an ionic form, but it can't really do it, so it kind of like, you know, and it takes heat to do that, so it sucks away heat when you put it in. Whole thing. But like, here's some graphite as well, because why the fuck not? Why wouldn't you do that? You can absolutely layer that with some electricity. Oh no, I could never. Get some plasma deposition, except that's not really what I do. I'm not going to use some vacuum plasma sputtering techniques, no offense. But this is chemical solutions with basic electricity and you know, a mandrel of the quartz glass and like you know, a little 3D printing, bada bing, bada boom, right? A little ceramic 3D print, a little fucking, you know, or plastic, whatever. Coat it with like a little graphite paint that's conductive, you know what I mean, right, man? Right, and then you're gonna get out like the layer of graphite. You have to have a layer of graphite on the outside of this. This is an electrical thing, so as it goes through, that way you can create a Z-pinch, you can create, as it electron redox flow and electron holes effectively, and then charge differences. So this is positive to negative, and that creates a huge arc spark gap, which is your Z-pinch. And then because it goes into those vacuum occlusions, it then, of course, continues to propagate it as a resonance frequency that allows for it to then go into coils, which you can then use around the nozzle, as this will go towards the nozzle, then towards the bell end. That's standard Duvall stuff. You know, standard shit, really, honestly speaking. But it's like, here's some little overhangs, there's a little state, you know what I mean? Right, and then that allows for it to effectively just be yeeted with cooling air fuel oxidizer. Afterburner, suck it! I'm not done! Ha ha! Yeah, no, of course I'm gonna do that. What, are you kidding me? To cool that bell in somehow. And not all of us want to make liquid hydrogen, no offense, hyperspace pirate, but it's kind of hard to do. It's not easy. I'll just throw in some fuel oxidizer, thermite explosives, and then I'll cool it basically with some ethanol, whatever. Yeah, yet another one. So, you know, just injectors is what those are. They're hollow tubes that you form around that quartz tube, right? And then you can 3D print and then ultimately form from there. It's a whole thing, basically. But that's what it's for. You can just inject fuel in. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's a really easy, simple trick to get around some of the major fatal flaws that people would think that this incorrectly would have. Because they're probably not very good at designing or engineering. They just think it can't be done, right? And so it's like, all right, so why? And then let's work on that solution that makes it work anyways. So you say it can't be, so let's then make it work. That kind of thing, you know what I mean? Which is just like looking at a bunch of people and then realizing that a lot of them just don't do that. And then they just give up. It's like, why? Why do you just give up? What's the point? What are you doing that for? Anyways. But yeah, no, that's effectively what that is. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to form like basic shit that's pretty easy to do, actually. You know, and then from there it's pretty easy to layer a bunch of high temperature, high pressure, low creep, you know, et cetera, good materials for that basically make it so when you layer it properly, I use silicon carbide. The silicon will stick to the quartz more easily. It's a electroform thing that you can do, and you can find online along with boron nitride, right? And then that can insulate certain areas. Along with, you know, making sure you just get the basics kind of set away for allowing conductive circuits to be formed. You know what I mean? It's a dialectic anyways. If you don't know, right, like ethanol is a dialectic, right? So like it's insulative, okay? So like you can actually do that far more than you think. Use the fuel as the actual insulator material. Do it. Just deal with it. Just fucking fuck off. Do it anyways. Don't listen to people that say it can't be done. Shut up and do it anyways. Basically, you know what I mean? Yeah, so here's the thing. I actually didn't want to record this. I figured you probably already know. There's basic valving That's not hard to do. That's a resonance. And in fact, really all you need to do is just make sure it has enough pressure that it can't be overcome until there's enough lowered pressure, and then it will fire it in, right? Standard stuff. However, here's the thing, okay? When you try and extrude like a quartz glass fiber, okay? Or even like a tube, because you can form that into a tube as it rolls over. That's a basic, 3D print, ceramic, little coat of some nickel, right? That kind of thing. You electroform some nickel around, rotate it, heat it up, allow for electro resistance, or like induction heating, that kind of thing, right? Basic stuff. You put some iron there, I'm sure, right? Stuff like that. Anyways, that means as you squeeze it through and it flattens and it rolls over, it rapidly will cool. You just need argon. But like, here's the thing, okay? You're going to use some electricity and light fired through that to basically create little holes, occlusions in that. Okay, and that gives you your, of course, metals in there as well. And so it's actually really pretty easy to make these things, for what it's worth. Like, these are just conductive quartz or insulative quartz, depending on how you want to do it. And that's not that hard to do, for what it's worth. It's a wagon wheel with a spindle for all your cottony fucking thread fiber needs, essentially, but it's just quartz now. You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard to make quartz get into like a liquid state. Like, are you kidding me? It's not. Like, obviously it's not. Right. But it's like, all right, but wait a second. Then I can just fucking, form this with two rollers. It squeezes it out flat, and then it rolls that, and then we rapidly cool that, and then that forms, you guessed it, a hollow structure tube, like, easy all day. You know what I mean? Right? And so, like, that allows for you, while they're cooling that, to then have a sliding, so this is the lubricant of the metal that you place on that little spindle area as you form it over that. All right? That's all you have to do. Around the edge, on the outside, and the inside. That way you can press it from the inside, and then you squeeze it on the outside, and you heat it up there. That's light and electricity all day. Simple as. Basic shit, effectively. Alright, but we're not done fully yet, because unfortunately we do have to do that part, because we have to make sure there are still holes in there. So that way, when we add in the conductive matrices, right, of both the graphite and the other metals and so on and so forth, that allows for you to then form, you guessed it, this mandrel into being a composite material that actually can perform as I'm saying it can. Simple stuff. Easy. You can make these high strength materials. It's not that hard. Anyone can do it. I just don't see why they don't. But most of the time they don't really have the knowledge. But that's sort of what that is. So here's some knowledge.